My name is James McCann. I'm Managing Director of Clear Story International. We're an international PR agency working with emerging and scaling technology companies, and we help them establish market awareness, brand positioning, credibility within the markets as well, and market education. I worked in insurance for a large insurance company a couple of years back. One of the courses that was there was a Lean Six Sigma Yellow Belt course. It definitely showed me some of the advantages of engaging in the Lean process. And then, of course, the local enterprise office were in touch about providing a Lean program for us as a company to participate in. Lean is the process of looking at your existing operations and operational structure and trying to stop the duplication of process, stop the kind of wasting of resources, time, money. Or the simplest thing I could say to anybody thinking of exploring Lean, especially if they're working from home, if they're a sole trader who've just kind of set up themselves, or maybe they're 2 or 3 years down the line, is that Lean will help you identify the mistakes before you make them. Our kind of Lean journey, we applied via the local enterprise office. We were introduced then to Eamon from Jigsaw. The first kind of element is really identifying the scope of what you want to look at. Again, we all have kind of plans to grow a business. Eamon just kind of walked me through my own assumptions about how this new structure was going to work, stopped me, kind of helped drill down into my logic, into the operations. Was the process being duplicated? Were we creating more work where it wasn't needed? And, Eamon just stopped and goes, well, why would you do it that way? Think about it. I myself would be a sole director of the company. It's oftentimes difficult to find somebody to bounce ideas off. One of the main outcomes that we had from the process was, a new structure to our client servicing approach and just general resourcing. I think initially there was an idea that we had to continue to scale our staff numbers to deal with input, but actually the more efficient that we can operate as a team, the better that is, and we don't have to pass the cost on to clients. We can actually save money, and it helps our staff by being able to spread the roles and responsibilities across the wider team. Like as a director, you're rushing to execute on a plan that hasn't been thought through, that hasn't been structured, that hasn't been costed or anything else. It makes sense sometimes just to take a step back, take your time, and then communicate it to the staff. Then it just makes more sense, and it's logical, and they can get behind it then themselves. You have a partner there who's educating you and walking the journey with you and serving as a mentor. And we're not all experts as business owners. So being able to surround yourself with a good team, people who can advise around best practice, just helps you professionally develop at the same time.
Good morning or good afternoon, should I say? I've been just checking the clock there before we actually came online to make sure that that we had everything right. It's great to see so many here, and lots of people will be dialing in to the live stream that'll go up online later on as well. My name is Stuart Nelson, and I'm a Lean coach with Jigsaw Better Business, and we work with the local offices across Dublin to help them to deliver the Lean for Micro program to all of their clients. That's you. That's all of you guys that are here on the call with us today. I'm delighted today to be joined by Oisin Butler from Oisin Butler Painting. He's going to be sharing a little bit about his story on Lean and the impact that it had on his business, and that's what we're going to be talking a little bit about today as well. So you're all very welcome. You're all very welcome. Just get my camera going here. It's a little bit of a problem with it. We might try this camera for a change. And start video. Okay, you're all very welcome. It's great to have you here. Just want to start off the session today by asking you to think about where you lose time across the week and work. So we call it the week. So where do you lose time across the week and work? So if you think about your day and how your day is structured, do you lose any time in the day on pointless tasks? So pointless tasks, thankless tasks, activities that really don't really add value, things that frustrate you in certain ways. So what is it across the day that you waste time on? If you want to pop them into the chat, but probably more importantly, what I'd like to hear in the chat or see in the chat is how much time are you losing across the day? So I'm just going to give everybody a minute just to pop in the chat. How much time do you think you're losing on pointless tasks across the day? Things that shouldn't be happening, things that could be done in a better way. So how much time are you losing across the day? Let's see some private chats coming in here. So 5-10 minutes from some people, maybe some more. So keep popping into the chat there how many minutes you're losing across the day on pointless or thankless tasks, things that you shouldn't have to be doing within your business. Because these tasks all fall into this category, what we call the hidden week. They're not fully productive. It's not fully productive time for us in our business. And this hidden week is made up of the tip of the iceberg is usually the work that we know we do, the work that we like to do, the work we think the work that what we call in Lean the value adding work, the work that our customers are willing to actually pay for. It's the piece underneath the iceberg that causes all of the problems, and it's usually due to problems with the way we do things in work. So within Lean, have these kind of common wastes, issues, things that take longer than they should. Duplicated effort, more than one person having to do something, and workarounds because of limitations in technology or resources that we actually have, late deliveries causing problems, things like long setup time, defects or rejects, customers not being happy. These are all things that kind of stretch out our tasks, make things more complicated, and really start to feed into this wasteful activity from there. Looking at a couple of messages here in the chat, some people say it's possible that we can get distracted about up to an hour a day. It's hard to estimate when you work on your own. Someone else chasing orders from suppliers, an hour a day at least, just to see where orders are coming. Another person here, an hour per day spent chatting with people when a consultation is finished, part of the process, but also an hour that we can't kind of give somewhere else as well. So anywhere between 30-60 minutes, 10 minutes, lots of time lost in the day, and a lot of that is in the execution of the value work that we do as well. And this is what we're aiming to find or help people find, and we're going to hear from Oisin in a little while about how he found this time in his week. Because this hidden week, this wasted time, these inefficiencies, these non-value add activities, they're a result of all of the time that we put in the week, less are the productive time. So what we call the value adding time, but the time spent actually doing the work. And when we take those away from each other, this is the hidden time or the wasted time in our week that really we want to find and to root out and to try and kind of get back in control of, and put to either better uses within the business or to have more time for ourselves within the business. And that's what Lean and the Lean for Micro program is from the local enterprise offices. It's about starting to look inward at your business. It's about starting to look at what you do and how you do it. Okay, it's not about an expert coming in and telling you how to do your job that you're an expert in already. It's about how you go about doing the work. It's about the work that it takes to get that work delivered. Okay, it's about looking inwardly and say, how can we do things better within our business? And if you were to take a look around your business at the moment, what is it that you'd see? Would you see perfect meetings? Would you see perfect workspaces? Would everything be clean, neat, and tidy? Or would it be more of a case that there was a bit some clutter and disorder, where there was a lot of time spent or lost looking for files and folders, for information, for equipment? Are you or someone else in the business the type of person that says, sure, I know where everything is, I can put my hand on anything within a second? In your team, does your teamwork flow? Is it smooth? Does it run easily? Does it run smoothly like the guys on the left here in the video, or does it run less smooth and fall flat in its face on occasion like the guys on the right hand side here? because this is what we want to get to. We want to move from the right to left here, where our teamwork has failed, our communication has failed, our processes perhaps are failing from time to time, and try and get everything clean, neat, and tidy, and well ordered, and in a lean ship shape kind of way. And that's what the Lean for Micro program aims to help people do. And it centers around this belief that waste exists in all processes. Okay, so if you have a process within your business, there's an opportunity for waste to occur within it. And that waste feeds into the hidden weak, and the hidden weak, it feeds into non-value, and it stops us from doing the best we can do within our business. Lean really is that simple. It's not always easy to implement, but it's a very, very simple concept to understand. It requires a problem to solve, which for most businesses is not a problem at all. If there's one thing we're not short of in businesses, it's problems. It requires some tools and techniques, but not too many of them, especially as we start out. It requires from you as business owners and managers and leaders. It requires good leadership, okay? It requires a relentless commitment, and it requires the belief that we can be better at what we do. That belief that we can be better is sometimes called the growth mindset. But really, it is just accepting that, look, with hard work and with effort and with making some changes and a focused approach, we can take what we do already successfully within the business, and we can find ways to do it faster. We can find ways to do it better, of a higher quality, and working with our team, we'll find ways to do it together with everybody there. Okay, that's what lean is. Nice and simply, the elimination of waste from processes, and it's working faster, better, and together as a team. Now, faster, better, and together does not necessarily mean working harder, because I have no doubts that everybody here on the call, everybody who owns their own business or has made a decision to go into business by themselves, has no problem working hard. How hard work is not the problem. But we would believe, and Lean believes as a concept, that all of that hard work we do is not necessarily all value adding work, okay? And that only about 5% of the work we do across the week, the entire organization, is value added work, okay? And 95% or 95% or 90% of what we do is non-value adding. That means it doesn't add any value to the customer, and the customer is not willing to pay for it. So value adding work brings the product closer to its final form, fit, or function. It changes the product in some way, and it usually changes it in a way that the customer is willing to pay for it. Non-value adding work doesn't contribute to bringing the product closer to its final form. It doesn't improve the product or the service in some way, or it's something that we have to do a second or third or even a fourth time because it wasn't done right on the first pass. So that's the non-value added work, okay? And so much of our week is consumed with this non-value added work, and it's activities that customers are not willing to pay for. That non-value added work generally fits into this category of waste. And in these 8 wastes, we have defects, overproduction, waiting, non-utilized talent, transport, inventory, motion, and excess processing. Defects is obvious enough. It's work. It's mistakes and issues that come into our processes. And what we'll do is we'll go through these 8 wastes a little bit after talking to Oisin, maybe even during the call with Oisin as well. But really what we want to do as part of any kind of lean project, and that's start to look inwards at how we do our business, is to identify these wastes within our processes across the week, and then put in place actions to eliminate them. Okay. Remember we said lean was simple. It's not always easy, but it's simple. It's find these 8 wastes in the processes that you do across your week, identify them, measure them if we can, but then eliminate them from our processes and eliminate them from what we do. And look, that's exactly what our speaker today did, or our speaker today did, Oisin Butler. He identified lean waste within his processes, and he set in place practices and processes and change and whip cracking maybe even at times to try and get this to get these changes made and to try and get the waste eliminated from the processes within his business. So I might just bring in Oisin now. Oisin, are you there, or have you disappeared on me?
Cheers.
Add you to the spotlight. How are you, Oisin? Are you well?
Good, thanks. Yourself?
I'm good. I'm delighted you're here. My computer was going slow and freezing a little bit there for a second, so I wasn't sure what was going on. I was mad adjusting cables here for a second to move cameras and so on. But I'm here and we're here. Oisin, you might just introduce yourself and the business just to get started.
Okay, well, my name is Oisin Butler and I have a painting company called Oisin Butler Limited. And what we do is residential painting mainly in and around Dublin and surrounding counties. And in terms of this whole lean process, I never knew anything about it. I didn't understand anything about it. I probably wouldn't have gone after it, but the lockdown happened a few years ago. Business was stifled a bit because of everything that was going on, and I was looking for things to do to try and help. So I went to the local enterprise office and I availed of pretty much everything but lean because I didn't understand what lean was. I didn't think it would really apply to me. And so I didn't go near it. In the end, I did because I had time, and I went in and I got onto lean courts just to see what would happen. And it was brilliant. It completely changed everything. Yeah, it was amazing. And now I still don't, I understand a lot better now than I did then. I don't understand it completely, but I do have a better understanding of it. And yeah, that's kind of the crack.
Okay, great. So you're kind of jumping way ahead, and
Sure.
we're going to bring you way back as well. So tell me, Oisin, why did you think it wasn't for you? Because I mean, that's one of the things we hear all the time is people say, "Oh, well, lean it's not for me. It's for manufacturing companies. It's for something else." So why did you think it wasn't for you?
You just hit it on the head. It's for manufacturing, like lean, like, you know, that just sounds like it's for manufacturing or something. I just didn't really see how it could apply to me. Now, I know of another painting company that did go through the process, and I couldn't figure out, well, I thought, well, if he's done it, I can do it. Now, I didn't hear what he got out of it, but I just thought, well, maybe they get something out of it. I can do it. It's not going to cost a lot of money. Let's give it a go. But I didn't really think I was going to get much out of it. I didn't really think it would apply to me, but I was kind of curious just to see what it was about, you know?
Yeah, and you know, it's an interesting myth, I suppose, about lean, that it's only for manufacturing companies. Yet the biggest manufacturing companies that do it, there's probably more service companies or more service operations are improved with it, because even those big manufacturing companies that do it, they also apply it in the service-based areas of their business as well, and with huge savings and significant savings as well. The other myth, which we're working hard to dispel over the last number of years, especially here in Ireland, because Ireland really is at the lead of this, is that it's only for big companies. You know, that only a big company could apply this. And I think between up until last year, we'd 1,500 companies come through it here in Ireland, micro enterprises, but it's not. It's for big companies and small companies. What size? How many employees do you have, Oisin?
Just 8 on myself at the minute.
Yes, so nine people. So you fall into the category, same as us here at Jigsaw, and for most people on the call, and in fact, about 92% of all businesses in this country fall into that category of less than 10 employees. Okay, so it does work. It works differently, but it does work for smaller businesses. The smaller the business, the more challenging it is to find the time, but definitely does work. And what were the kind of issues that you were facing? You mentioned COVID and you kind of had that downtime, but what were those kind of issues that you were facing that you felt you wanted to work on, or you felt that was drawing you to this when you saw the other painter had taken place?
Well, I wasn't really sure. I knew I needed help with my quoting processes, like how I quoted, because years ago when I first started out, I'd go out, I'd come out to your house, I'd have a look at your house, and you tell me you want everything painted, that's grand. I'd go away and then write down everything. So you want this room, everything in this room, that room, everything in that room. So I'd give like a detailed report back of what we were going to do and what the price would be. And that would take me ages. And then I realized that
Somebody looking for a quote now, is it?
Yeah. I realized that this isn't doing me any favors. It's taking way too much time. So I went the other way completely. And if you ask me for a price, I send you back a price. Yeah, it'll be 5,000 euros. And you might be, well, what's included? Well, I'll get back to that, but that's the price. So I was a bit all over the place and trying to figure out what way to go about it. And that's what I kind of wanted help with. But when I got the help kind of went in a different direction. Yeah. So
Okay, so what direction did the help go in then? What issues were the issue? You had the issues that you thought you had,
yeah.
and then the issues that perhaps Eamon identified when he worked with you.
Well, Eamon pointed out things. Okay, so I have a painting company. I'm a painter. I have a painting company, and painting is painting, right? It's been going around for thousands of years or hundreds of years, and it's done a certain way, and that's all the way. That's all there is to it. You can't change it, right? You got to go. There's a process, and that's what you do. This is what I thought, right? So the whole thing is kind of set, and you have to do things a certain way, and that's the end of it. So I parked that, and that was grand. I wasn't going to interfere with that. But Eamon was like, "Well, why are you doing it like that?" And I was like, "Well, that's the way it's done. It's the way it's always been done." And he's like, "But why?" And I didn't really like. He started saying things to me, and I was like, "He just hasn't got a clue. He doesn't understand." And I was like, "Well, you can't do it like that, Eamon." Like one of the things he said to me was like, "Why are you driving out to somebody's house to look at it?" I thought, this is a ridiculous question. If they want a house painted, you've got to go out and look at it. And he's like, "Well, why not have a video call with them?" I thought, well, that's not going to work. But then we kind of thought about it a bit. And if we figured out if we ask somebody to take a video of their house or a video of the room they want painted and send it by WhatsApp, that cuts out driving out to their house. And I didn't think people would be into this, but we tried it anyway. Aim's like, give it a go. So I gave it a go. And pretty much everyone is into it. People are delighted. Like, so straight away, they can take a video of the house and send it over to me, and I can have a look and draw up a quote and send it back again. It's just bonkers, you know. I would never have thought to do something like that, but I have, and it works. It's mental. And as a words,
And two questions, I suppose, spilling out from that, or 2 points. One might be a point, one might be a question. When you mentioned there about you questioning yourself about this Eamon lad coming in, and what does he know about painting and decorating? Probably not a lot if you asked Mrs. Eamon. To be sure, but when the person comes in, they don't know a lot about the industry they're working in. Like, chat with Eamon or myself or Cash or any of the coaches that work on these programs. I mean, we would work with butchers and bakers and candlestick makers, and I suppose what Eamon would be looking for is to go back to those wastes, and we'll talk about it a bit more after. Is he sees you traveling out somewhere to do work. And that's the quotation, and then he sees you traveling back, and in that waste and lean is the waste we call transport, is the waste we call motion, where you're moving out to one place to do some work, and then you're moving back, and that takes a significant amount of time, and it's working out with current technologies, current practices. Do we have to do that? And also with the customers' expectations, like maybe before COVID, people wouldn't have accepted that, but after COVID and after the move towards digitalization and the convenience, that maybe more and more people are buying into that. So I mean, that kind of drives on that first point, is about the people that would work with any of the people here on the call. They're not experts in your business or what you do, or selling houses or painting houses or baking bread. It's about the process that you go about to actually deliver that. The other question I want to ask you, which is the question part here, I suppose, is when you put that step in place, we've seen this in other companies, did they get rid of some tire kickers to a certain extent?
you've no idea. Yeah, it's crazy. Not only tire kickers, but like we're aiming for a certain part of the market. People will pay a little more to get a higher standards. And sometimes when you're talking to someone on the phone, yeah, they're tire kickers, but they might even they might want you to travel 45 minutes to look at one wall or something ridiculous, it's just not worth your while. So that's totally eliminated all that. It's brilliant for that alone. The tire kickers.
We see it a lot with businesses like yourself as well, where you kind of have this, we call them clink and clickers, where it's sitting on the couch in the evening, and you might see a Pinterest or an Instagram post of a you know, maybe someone's garden or someone's lawn or a freshly painted wall or a newly hung door, and you say, oh, I wonder how much that is. And that sparks this cycle or this process of a quotation. I'll come to the house, I'll measure up, where perhaps that person isn't really qualified, you know, in the most basic ways to do it, which takes up your time. You're nodding your head there.
Yeah, no, that's a huge part of it. It's like I didn't like you do get that, and it's infuriating when you call out to someone, you're all kind of ready to go in and have a look and see what's going on, and it's you know in your heart like, oh yeah, I'll just think about your price now, or what. They weren't into it in the first place. They were just like you said, having a look, and they're wondering, they're curious. This way, if you call me and say, look, I want a price for my house, and I say, okay, Stuart, I want you to walk around, take a video, send it to me by WhatsApp. It doesn't have to be perfect. Just kind of take in whatever it is and send it to me. I'll have a look and I'll come back to you. If you're not really that pushed, you're not going to bother sending the video, and that's it. It's over. It's done.
Yeah.
So your time's not wasted, my time's not wasted. But if you do go to the time, if you take the time to take a video and send it to me, then you're interested. So that's it.
Yeah, and you know, it's great. So it's that, you know, looking for the measurements, giving a ballpark price. You know, we know all this. We learn all this probably in the very first day of, if anyone's going to start your own business course or anything, sales course. It's this like this qualifying approach. Does the person have the budget? You know, are they ready to do this job? You know, and really, once that's known, it improves our hit rate, but it saves the wasting of time. And I think that's what Eamon would have seen when working with you, and definitely what I would have seen is what I would have seen is sorry, excuse me. What I would have seen in clients that I worked with is that you have, you know, you're qualifying people and you're removing that waste of the travel, which takes up so much time as well. And were there other challenges? So that was one step in a process. Were there other significant challenges?
Outside of the quoting, yeah, there was loads. But like Eamon,
Yes.
behind the scenes, he spotted a few things and he's just shooting them down as he went, which is kind of cool. Like I'm computer literate, but I can't type, right? But so this is just a stupid little thing, maybe it just applies to me. If somebody sends me in an inquiry, I've got to type up a response and send it back. And because Eamon had me figure out what I was doing with my day. You know, you have an 8-hour day and I'm using up those 8 hours. There's busy, it's all busy. There's no waste. I'm actually working my way through it. So, but when you write down what you're actually doing, and there's certain things you're doing over and over and over again, it's like, well, why are you doing that? Why don't you have something written out beforehand and you just copy and paste it in, change the name and send it back? Or, you know, just have little templates, stupid little things like that I didn't have that made a big difference. On site when the guys are working, it's a painting company, people are painting, they're painting someone's house. They need clean tools from time to time. This is another little thing we saw is if somebody's rolling a wall with a roller, paint roller, and decide they need to clean it out. So you got to take the roller off, you got to go in, find a sink somewhere, you got to clean it out, it can take 15, 20 minutes. As you're cleaning it out, you're going to get a bit of paint on the counter, maybe it gets on the floor, whatever. You clean all that up. So it could be 25 minutes, could be half an hour, depending on who's doing it. So that's half an hour gone. And so Aim was like, well, we figured out, like, what's the point? Why clean out the rollers? Why not just wrap them up, put them in a box and have excess new clean rollers to use? And once the box gets to a certain level of fullness, it can be taken away and they can all be washed at the same time in a washing machine. And that's it. So that alone saves loads of time. So there's loads of little things that we always did a certain way, like you wash your roller in the sink, that's the way it's done. So we don't wash it anymore and it just freed up time. It's just crazy, you know? I think that was, go on.
No, you go, yeah.
That was the biggest surprise to me, was we were doing things the way that they were always done because that's the way you do it. And it was like trying to figure out, well, how are you going to speed things up? Like, do you do it faster, or, you know, how do you do it? So now we're doing the same things. We could be going more slowly, but we're having more success and we're achieving the finish faster and to a higher standard, which is, you know, which I didn't think would happen. I didn't think that would happen at all, but that's what's happening.
Yeah, and you know, it's you know, the saying is, you know, we yeah, that's the way we've always done things, you know. And how if we had a euro for every time we heard that, we'd have a lot of euros. But it is even interesting to hear that, like, clear example of the rollers. I mean, I wouldn't necessarily have thought of that until I saw the process. I mean, that's why I think what's interesting with with this program, or makes it stand out from a lot of the other programs, it's very much a hands-on based program. We have the format of it here in Dublin is that there's the 2 group workshops, which you would have attended with me, and then you're assigned a coach to work with you on a one-to-one basis in a blended fashion. So that's a mix of online and in person, depending on the business. But it's about looking at your processes, looking at what you do, and that's how those kind of improvements can come from. It's about, like, it's back to those 8 wastes that we had up as a poster. It's looking at that and saying, well, look, you have to do it, but do you have to do it now? And that's what's slowing it. That's what's slowing it down. Any other initiatives that you changed?
Yeah, I can't remember. There's actually loads of little ones that we just use, like just bang bang, just changing as we go. Yeah. What else is there? There was a few, like the color schemes I get from the clients was kind of, I've got a digital color scheme form now. It's a Google form that goes out to the client. They fill in their things. It comes back to me. Now, the way it was coming back to me was a bit all over the place, and there was mistakes because of it. It was like, it wasn't completely clear. It was all over the place. I didn't know what I was doing really. I showed Eamon, and he's like, right, straight away, he was able to point out what I was doing wrong and how to tweak it and how to make it better. Now I know it's just, if I can show you before and after, it's night and day. It's just totally easy. The guys can look at it, they see exactly what's going on, and there's no mistakes. Whereas before it's like a lot of head scratching, call me up, what does this mean? Does this mean that? And do you know what I mean? So all that time is gone now.
Yeah, and I mean that interpretation, that I mean, the very first thing we had in our waste, actually I might just pop these wastes back up on the screen, because we are talking through a fair few of them. Just give me 1 second. I'll pop it back here so people can see as we're referring to them. Like that waste that you're talking about there, in terms of the in terms of the the color charts, if one of your team have the form and they're interpreting it and they're trying to understand it, and it's not clear to them, and they have to call you, that's defect. Now we would never think that a defect is happening in your a defect is happening in your in the quality of the work that you do, because you wouldn't get away with that. So sometimes when we think about defects, we're thinking about the finished work, but most businesses, and I imagine all businesses, they're not sending out defective products to their customers because they wouldn't get away with it. But we've these internal defects, as you mentioned about that color chart, where there was some nuances or people were unsure about it, and therefore they had to contact you for clarification, which then brings into this waste of defects. There was a few more bits like that, was there?
Yeah, there
Anything to mention?
well, there was that, and then there was like, in terms of reporting. So I've got all these guys working for me. I'm not on the tools. I'm trying to manage everything. They manage everything, but they're all on different places. Like you could have somebody in Wicklow, you could have somebody in Clontarf, you could have somebody in Kildare. I can't go around and look at what they're doing. Now I trust them. I don't need to, but I don't know what's going on, which was one of the other things. So Eamon said, well, look, get them to do a quick walk around at the end of the day with their camera, with their video smartphone camera, and do a video. This is what we've done.
Yeah.
This is how things are. That's it, good luck, and send the video to me. And then I know this is something that will come up as well. A customer might call me at the end of the day or send me a message saying, how did the lads get on? Or did the lads do this? Or did they do that? And I, again, scratching my head, I don't know. I've got to call them, which I don't want to do after hours, or email them or something. So just, it was kind of a bit awkward. So instead now they send the video, I can just look at the video, I know straight away. And if they call me, I can tell them, yeah, I know what's going on. This is what's happening. This is how it stands. Or I can send them the video and they can see it themselves. It's a little thing, but it may be different.
Yeah, and I mean that's the thing here, and I hope people are starting to pick this up at this point. It's the little things that are making the difference. I mean, did Eamon ever come in and show you how to paint a wall or to move the roller or technique? No, he didn't advise you on any spray painting technology or stilts that you could use to paint the walls better. No, I mean that's the pattern of this here. It's not about the painting, it's about the process, and it's about looking at you and your team and the experts in the process to see can I see any wastes here? Actually, the guys outside, when the guys are outside, and girls, now you've a mixed team there. When the team are outside and they're washing the rollers, what aren't they doing? They're not painting. And painting is the value added work here.
That's something Eamon explained to me, which I never really kind of thought about either. Is like, he said your customer is only paying for you to apply the paint to the wall or the woodwork or whatever it is, not paying you to clean brushes or to put down sheets or any of that stuff. So that's what you need to focus on. So you need to eliminate as much of this stuff that's unnecessary as possible and just focus on the painting.
Yeah, and that's why this graph here of the 90 to 95% of the value and non-value, that becomes that's the part that's where all that is. We do have to, you have to clean the rollers, you have to have clean rollers to apply the paint. But from the customer's perspective, they're only paying for you while the paintbrush is moving across the wall. That's the only bit they're paying for. So from a lean perspective, that's the only value adding part. And we have to really identify that within our own businesses. We have to find the value or the value add part in the eyes of our customers, in our processes. And that's what we want to keep. There are things like cleaning the rollers, cleaning their brushes, tidying up, we have to do. And they fit into this category of non-value add but necessary. And I think what it sounds like what you did with Eamon there was trying to make that the non-value add but necessary more streamlined, by batching it in this case, or by doing it at a later point, or to have more supplies to keep that kind of ready. And I mean, that's a similar, you might not think or ever have compared rolling paint on a wall to Formula One, but that's exactly what they do in Formula One. They don't wait for the car to arrive to then go and look for new tires, or then to take the tires off and to do something with them, or put a new tire on the existing wheel. They have new ones ready to go, so the car can keep going around the track. And that's where value is created. And similar to yourself, that's where the roll is on the wall. In terms of so a few changes there in terms of digital, and we were talking about this even just beforehand. Did you do anything from a digital perspective? You mentioned about the form, but did you implement any new digital technologies to help with this, or to help with the change?
Yeah, well, in terms of digital technologies, we're talking smartphones, and WhatsApp really is long, tall, and short of it. We do have customer inquiry forms which we use, which are great. We have what else? We've the paint color scheme forms, which are great. But then the quotes, one thing as well, which is trying to figure out, because we've got different teams around the place and we've all these different jobs, and it's trying to keep everyone in the know, because once they know what they're doing, you can just leave them alone. But if they don't know what's going on, then it's difficult. So it was how to get the information of the job. It might sound stupid, but it's actually complicated to get the job scope of work. So whatever you've agreed with the customer that you're going to do, to the team. Yeah. So, and again, this might sound stupid or simple and straightforward, but we broke it down to the scope of works that we get to the customer. The quote essentially is I use a snipping tool on the computer to take a shot of that, and that goes into WhatsApp and over to the team. So they have exactly the same thing that the customer has, and they're on the exact same page. Yeah. Does that qualify as electronic?
Absolutely, yeah. Well, look, it's about kind of looking, and it's looking at the broader tools, and it's the tools that are available and technology that's available. And WhatsApp, yeah, absolutely is something that everybody has used. But one thing we always say about digital, while it can form part of a lean project, it should always be kind of lean and process improvement first, and then making sure all those processes are tight. I mean, you could have improved even the videos with your clients, of them taking videos of their rooms and giving you measurements and then sending them through your phone. That's use of technology there as well. But it's really important to get the processes right, so we have that time, and that we're also getting the right tools for us as well. In terms of, we hear all the time from business owners, about the effects of the program, or the impact on taking part in a program like this outside of the business. Has it had any personal impact on you, or?
Yeah, it has, because like I said in the beginning, I didn't really understand what I was getting myself into, but I was going to have a crack at it anyway and just see what it was about. I'm open to new experiences, but yeah, now I understand what a process is. I can see where processes are. Like if I walk into the house and I want to make a cup of tea, well, making a cup of tea is a process. And where I have all the implements like a spoon, a cup, the milk, the tea bags, all that stuff, like if I'm going to be making cups of tea, it makes sense for me to keep everything as simple as possible. Now, I don't always do it, but it's the way I'm thinking now. If we're doing something and we're going to be repeatedly doing it, if it's a process, well, how can we do it better, or how can we streamline it a bit? So I do think about it. It's funny, and it does make sense, you know.
Yeah, and even I know you've a hard stop in a couple of minutes, but you've a hard stop because you've to
Like my kids.
yeah do a school run.
To
And I
do,
said, geez, that's great to be able to do that. And you said to me,
I said to you, well, I would never have been able to do it before, but now because of the way things stand, I've loads of free time. Before I spent loads of time quoting, loads of time doing lots of stuff, managing and everything else. Now I don't have to do it. I use far less time getting back to people. The amount of I actually get through more inquiries now than I could before, because you can only see 8 people in a day if you're lucky. Now I could get through 20 or more if I wanted to. I had that many inquiries. So I get through more inquiries. I just get through more work more quickly, and I have more time to myself. So my wife's working full time now. So I drop the kids in school in the morning and I collect them after school. So you could say I'm working part-time now, but still doing the same work, still turning over the same amount of money, and still got the same crew, and I still have more time. Well, I never had that before.
yeah, and that again something we hear over and over is maybe not getting down to those hours, but people coming down from an 80 or 60 to an 80-hour, from an 80-hour week to a 60-hour week, or from a 60 to a 40, that they're working less at weekends. And that's really important, I think, for business owners, and for people in businesses, and even if you are still working within the same amount of hours, it's not as stressful, it's not as burdensome. It's the work is getting done. You kind of feel like you're accomplishing something every day as well. So I mean, it's great to hear those kind of that side of it as well. Um, just in terms of the people on the call here, I mean, what would you say to people who are unsure if it's for them, or are on the fence about taking part or signing up?
I would say I was on the fence. I was unsure, and it definitely made a difference. You'll find that the way I felt about it in the beginning, you probably feel this way as well, is there's probably not much room to improve, because you're doing everything the best way you can and you're working really hard, especially if you're self-employed. You're not going to be sitting around, you're going to be getting stuck in and get on with it. So you might think there's not much room for improvement, but when someone else comes in that's not involved in your business and looks and sees things and questions you will find that you can actually change things and do them a bit more efficiently and free up time. Like that's what happened with me, and it was just, it was well worth doing.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. And I'll outline the program to everyone in a little while as well. But I mean, it's a low cost. The costs vary from county to county, but it's a fairly low cost program. But there is a commitment of your time, and I think, in fairness to yourself, Oisin, you committed your time to work with Eamon and to make the changes and to invest your time into it to get the gains out of it as well. So it's important to recognise that as well. While the cost is low, the time cost and commitment is something that you have to be able to want to do as well. Okay, that's great. I promised I'd let you out of here a quarter to, so you can go and get the little lads from school. Lucky you to be able to do that. And there's probably a lot of jealous people here who would love to be able to have that time as well. But thanks a million for sharing.
Sure.
Thanks for being so honest and frank about your experience. And it's great to hear such positive stories as well. And I think everyone might give you a virtual Bula bus if they can find the reaction key quick enough. If not, I'm sure they mean it. But thanks, Oisin. Thanks for sharing there as well. And enjoy your afternoon.
Thanks, here. See you guys.
Cheers. So that was great. Thanks a million. Thanks a million, Oisin. Yeah, a couple of people found the virtual, the hand clapping symbol. It can get a bit tricky to find as well from there as well. So lots of thanks there as well. So yeah, that's brilliant. It's great to hear. I was just just chatting with him, doing a sound check before the session started, and he said, "Remember now, I have to be out at quarter to." And I said, "Are you going to do quotations this afternoon?" He said, "No, I pick up the kids in the afternoon." And he has the kids at home and still working away at the laptop, whatever the office, but to be able to do that, take that time, kind of shows that with that order and structure, you can start to bring, it's about kind of quality of life there as well. So it's a nice a nice side to that from Oisin there as well. And yeah, just a great story, employing a business there, DLR, employing 9 people, including himself, and providing a quality product and service, and finding ways to do that in an easier way, and make those jobs more secure, ensuring the business is viable as well. And look, as we said, we this, a lot of this comes from, and for Oisin, a lot of this comes from this identification of waste in the process. And waste is any step that the customer is not willing to pay for. It has no value to the end product or the client. And Oisin gave that great example of the roller. And that roller part of it was necessary, has to be cleaned, but it wasn't necessary to do it at that time, because it slowed down the actual painting process. And it's the painting process that customers are willing to pay for. And it could be found ways to do it in a more streamlined way. Within Lean, these wastes are categorized into this acronym of downtime. And this is what you really need to be looking out for in your business processes. And if you sign up for the Lean program, with your local end office, which is what we're here to talk about today as well, this is what we're looking for. You're looking for waste in your process. The first one is defects. Anything that needs rework or will not be acceptable product to the customer. Think about what Oisin said, is that when he was communicating with his team, sending them instructions, the instructions weren't clear. That was causing them to communicate back with him. Okay, that's a defect. It's not damaged paint, it's not damaged wall. It's a defect. It's incorrect information. Next one is overproduction, so producing sooner, faster, and greater quantities than the customer demanded. Perhaps we're generating too many leads. Perhaps the leads aren't qualified and we can't process them. That can fall into the category of overproduction. It also falls into some what we might often call producing for stock, when the stock isn't required. We have the waste of waiting. So people, work, or equipment and activity, people standing around waiting for instructions, waiting for orders, waiting to find out what's going on in the process. Next waste is non-utilized talent. So failing to make the best use of our people, their skills, their creativity, or their knowledge on a project that we're working on. The waste of transportation. So the unnecessary movement of information, work, or equipment between processes. We then have the waste of inventory, so stock. Okay, carry have too much in stock, too much paint in stock, too many rollers in stock, but having too much stock, having our cash money tied up in this inventory as well. It also relates to work in progress. Okay, so we might have a lot of work in progress, a lot of leads at various stages of completion or closing, a lot of inquiries that we haven't quite dealt with. And that's our work in progress or inventory as well. Then we have the wave motion, that's the operator. So unnecessary walking, bending, turning, or reaching by people or equipment. We heard Oisin talking about how we drove down to do a lot of his quotations without qualifying people. Now by getting people to give him some measurements, he's reduced the amount he's had to travel to go and do the value adding work as well. So saving there as well. And then the last waste is excess processing. I have 2 definitions of this. Excess processing, the correct definition is doing more than the customer requires to complete the tasks, or doing aspects or elements of the work that the customer doesn't actually value or want. Okay. The other side of this is when we talk about extra processing, which means because of any of the other wastes or any of the 8 wastes, what happens is that we have to do extra steps in the process. And by doing extra steps in the process, it leads us to have longer processes, more drawn out processes. They cost us more money, and they end up taking more time as well. And they really stop us from growing and being efficient. For most businesses, when they identify these wastes, they can start to bring order to them through a process like 5S, which is something like workplace organization. Workplace organization: sort, set in order, shine, standardize, and sustain. It's a systematic approach which helps us bring efficiency, helps us be more competitive. A really simple system that creates an organized and productive kind of workplace. And it's a practice that almost all of the micro companies that go through the Lean program will actually do. It helps bring chaos. It helps bring organization and efficiency to chaos and non-productivity within our business processes as well. And look, that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to find ways in which this hard work that we do every day can be more value adding and less non-value adding, because I've no doubts that everybody here on the call works hard, extremely hard every day as well. And lean is about looking at the processes that you do to deliver what your customers want and improving that processes. It's also a mindset which includes respect people, about making a team effort, about recognizing that it's okay to be wrong and it's okay to ask for help, about recognizing that, you know, it just because we make an improvement today doesn't mean we don't make any more effort, because the improvement journey is endless. We're constantly trying to improve things. It's about recognizing that a lot of what we do is waste, and that we need to focus on that and try and find ways to eliminate it, especially if it's not necessary. It's about not focusing on things we can't change and focusing on things we can change. You know, this concept of whataboutery or otherism. Don't worry about what other people are doing or things you can change. Focus on what we can change and start to deliver what we do in a smooth and steady pace rather than a fast and inconsistent pace as well. It's hard work moving towards perfection and moving towards continuous improvement, which is where we're trying to get to. But it's worth it in the end. It's also about understanding or remembering that it's okay not to know something. Okay, lack of knowledge is never an issue. It's about what is an issue is not knowing that there's more to know. There's always more to learn. There's always things we could do. So if you don't have the knowledge, that's fine. Go and find it as well. But don't think you know it all already as well. Time is never wasted. Okay, so quite often when we get people starting out in these programs, they talk about time as a waste, or it's a waste of time. Time only measures waste. Okay, so don't ever try and describe the issue as being a time issue. Look at how that time is spent and what it's spent on. Okay, because it only ever measures waste in your business and in your processes. One of the big questions we get, and this kind of Oisin kind of touched on this at the start, you know, whether lean is for his business or for your business or for any business. I mean, the short answer is yes. Okay, so we've heard from a painter and decorator there. There's not many lean case studies in the world about painters and decorators, but it has an impact. It has an impact on all businesses. We've worked with butchers and bakers and candlestick makers, and actually worked with butchers and bakers and candlestick makers. We've worked with goat farmers, agricultural feed companies, pharmacies, retail, GPs, surgeries. All of these businesses have engaged with the local enterprise office or engaged with Enterprise Ireland to actually get support to implement lean, and whether they actually took it fully in as an internal practice, but to get the help to help show them how they can improve their processes as well. What you need to do is say hello and access the supports. Okay, there are plenty of supports out there at the moment to help you to implement lean within your business. These dates are wrong. Apologies that the dates haven't actually changed. The next Dublin program is taking place. If Andre is there, he might just pop it in. The next Dublin program is taking place on May the 4th and May the 11th. It's taking place on May the 4th and May the 11th. That is the two training workshops. Okay, so May the 4th and May the 11th, not the dates that are actually on the screen here as well. Those workshops are 2 half-days training which take place online, and that's followed by 5 half-days of individual mentoring. And that individual mentoring is where you'll, as Oisin talked about Eamon a lot, you'll be assigned a coach like Eamon or Cash or myself who will come and work with you in your business. Okay, they'll come and work with you in your business, and they'll try and find ways for you to streamline what you do. They'll challenge you. They'll ask you a lot of questions. Just update these dates here. So it's May 4th. They'll ask you a lot of questions about what you do and why you're doing it. But that's what lean is all about. It's about looking at what you do, looking at why you're doing it, looking at the process and the approach that you take. And that next Dublin program taking place on May the 4th and the 11th. They're group sessions. I think that's only a week or so away from now. If you want to apply for the program, it's localenterpriseoffice.ie/lean. In there is a link to the submit panel as well, which we'll also circulate afterwards as part of the follow-up with the link to the recording as well. So localenterpriseoffice.ie/lean for the next Dublin program. If you're not in Dublin, you can go to the same place and put an application, and your application will be routed to whatever county that you're actually based in. As I said, there's only, I think, three painters in Ireland that have actually gone through the lean program and have found significant savings. There's over 250,000 businesses in Ireland that are registered in Ireland. 92% of them are micro enterprises like us. Up until December last year, only 1,500 of those companies had actually taken part in lean programs with reported savings of 17 million euros. Okay, so really there's an opportunity here for businesses stand out at what they do. Okay, and while they're standing out, they're improving quality, reducing costs, becoming more profitable. They're actually saving time and money here as well. But beyond the cash savings, and we heard Oisin relate to this as well, there's more benefits, okay? And those more benefits include the structured work processes, working smarter, not harder, so Oisin's not up and down the road of time to do quotations. He's still able to deliver more, but in an easier way. The business is more competitive, it's more agile, the costs are coming down. But those personal benefits, things like improved owner and employee well-being, because the work has got simpler, less stressful, easier even, and more rewarding. And things like getting home on time, spending more time with your family as well. They're the real benefits that other real benefits that we're hearing from smaller business owners like ourselves here on the call. We started at the start by talking about this hidden week, and we had the iceberg there with all the tip of the iceberg and things that were above that we could see. But what if we only wasted 10 minutes per day? Okay, 10 minutes per day, is a fraction of what people are actually wasting per day as well. If we wasted 10 minutes per day, that would be about 50 minutes per week that we'd waste. That 50 minutes per week by 48 weeks of the year is 2,400 minutes per year. And that 2,400 minutes per year is 40 hours per year. So if we're only wasting 10 minutes per day or 50 minutes per week, that adds up to about 40 hours per year. And that's where our hidden week is across the year. And if I scroll back through the chat here at the moment, I clearly see people had 10, 20, 30, 40 minutes. So how many of these 10 minutes or hidden weeks are we actually losing across the year as well? And that's where all our time is. That's where our inefficiency is. That's where our costs are seeping, and that's how we can start our businesses more competitive and more profitable. Lean is about it's about learning to see, okay, and it's about learning to see waste in your processes. It's about process improvement. It's about problem solving. It's about identifying and eliminating waste. It's about creating unglamorous but stable and repetitive processes. But really, it's about starting to embed this mindset into the way you think, into the way the people in your organization think, and it's about learning to see and finding ways to do things faster, better, and together with all of your teams. Okay, guys, thank you so much for your time and for hanging on. Again, just like to thank Oisin for his time and contribution today. I know he's gone, but thanks a million for all of that, and thanks for your help. And Yeah, looking forward to seeing you all in the workshops in the next couple of weeks. Hopefully you get to sign up, and myself and Andre and the team here in Jigsaw and the local enterprise offices will circulate information for anyone who's interested to